Makena reporting for Kids First, and today I'm interviewing Nancy Svendsen about Pasang, the Shadow of Everest. Ms. Svendsen has been passionate since her youth about telling stories and became an independent filmmaker in 2013. With a short documentary entitled Svend, Nancy founded the Follow Your Dream Foundation, Inc., a 501c3 organization, as a place to nurture and launch powerful stories that can influence people's lives. Today, we're talking about her new documentary feature film, Pasang, in the Shadow of Everest, which is premiering at the Santa Barbara Film Festival in March 3rd. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
I'm delighted to have you too. What an inspiring story you have brought to light. You learned about Pasang Lhamu Sherpa, the first Nepali woman to summit Mount Everest, from your brother-in-law. What made you decide to make a film about her story?
Well, when my brother-in-law, Angdorji Sherpa, first told me the story, I was honestly just incredibly moved and inspired. She was an amazing, inspirational woman, I think incredibly charismatic. And while in Nepal, she is very well known. She is kind of a household name in Nepal. There's a life-size statue of her in Kathmandu. There's a postage stamp with her picture on it, a mountain, a road, schools, all that named after her. But nobody had ever told her story outside of Nepal. And I think it's just an incredible story about the power of following your dream and following your passion against all obstacles. So I really wanted to make a film because I felt that was the best way to share her story more widely.
It's so amazing that you decided to share her story with the world. Pasang grew up in poverty and yet managed to become quite a leader. Your own mother lifted herself out of poverty in Iowa. In what ways did you find yourself relating to Pasang?
That's such an interesting question because, if looking at it from the outside, there would seem to be not a lot of parallels, a lot of connections for me as an American growing up, in a small town. But honestly, when I heard about Pasang, she grew up in this small village high in the Himalayas. There was no running water, there was no electricity, and my mom grew up in the same conditions. I mean, she grew up in rural Iowa on a farm, really poor. And my mom's greatest dream was to become educated herself. She actually walked to country school. She was able to go to school, but she had to walk through snowdrifts to a one-room country school. Pasang was not able to do that because in Nepal, as a woman, she wasn't allowed to go to school. Her brothers got to go, but as a woman, she was expected to stay home, do housework, raise, farm, all of that sort of thing. And so while on the surface, again, it doesn't look like there would be a natural connection, I was extremely connected to Pasang when I heard her story.
That is so cool. Pasang's quest awakened her country of Nepal to the inequalities endured by the women who live there. How do you feel that your film has helped bring about changes to Nepalese women?
Well, I think that we're just on the brink of seeing what's going to happen here with my film being out in the world as of next week. I would say that Pasang herself did make changes for women in Nepal. I mean, she has been incredibly inspirational. Since she climbed Everest, there have been a host of other women who've climbed, Nepali women, Sherpa women, all different ethnicities of women have climbed Everest. And I've spoken with a lot of them. And honestly, so many of them cite Pasang as their real inspiration because she gave them the courage to do what didn't seem to be possible for them in their world. So with the film, I really hope to carry that message out beyond the walls of Nepal to the wider world, and to celebrate this amazing woman who inspired people and women and youth in her country. But that same message, I think, applies worldwide.
Yeah, and just hearing you say that makes me want to follow through on my dreams. I really appreciate it. Pasang grew up in a mountaineering family and was a climber from her teens. News of her successful summit launched her to a hero status among her nation. But triumph turned to tragedy when Pasang perished on the descent. How was working on this film with such a sad story?
Well, it was a sad story. It is a sad story. When you see the film, it's tragic. I mean, this amazing woman lost her life. But I think, moving through that, the passion and that she had, and the inspiration that she brought to so many Nepali women, so many youth in Nepal, that isn't tragic. That is a gift. And so, from this incredible sacrifice, honestly, that Pasang made, I think that there is tremendous inspiration that she's been able to bestow on her country.
Born into poverty, Pasang could not read, write, or even speak the national language. Yet she had the courage to battle the country's government for gender and racial equality. I understand that you worked on this film for 8 years. What was it that kept you going?
Oh, that's a great question. It was a long period of time, but honestly, seeing it through never really was a question. It just, I knew that the story had to be told. And so it was a kind of a mountainous climb for me along the way. I would say lots of some amazing, tremendous highs, also some really big lows in all the challenges that I faced to try to raise money and gather material, gather a lot of the archival material together. Was quite a climb, in itself. So, but Pasang really was always my inspiration.
How much were Pasang's family and fellow Sherpa involved in telling her story?
They were super helpful. Pasang's brother obviously is my brother-in-law. He's married to my sister, and we live close by, and he was incredibly helpful in introducing me to people. He came with me on all of my shoots to Nepal and was extremely helpful in making things easier and introducing me to people. Pasang's daughter, Dawa, who is in the film, she has been a super special connection for me, because when I met her years ago, she'd never really talked about her mom's death. And it was something that was really emotional for her, but in her culture, it was not common to talk about death. That's not how they processed death. And so, I mean, in her gaining trust in me and in the relationship that we've developed over the years, it's been this beautiful window into watching her kind of process her grief around her mom and what it means for her. I think she's been incredibly helpful, and she'll be in Santa Barbara next week. She's traveling from Nepal to be there for the premiere.
That is so amazing. I really love that. Can you share some of your favorite moments from working on this film?
Oh, there's so many. I would say one really, one dramatic moment. I'd been searching for, so Pasang, ended up dying on her fourth climb on the way down after she summited. And I had just heard stories about this, but I had no firsthand accounts. That nobody had a camera on the mountain. And so trying to find the people who were on that last climb with her and actually spent that last night with her when they bivouacked at the South Pole on Everest was quite a challenge. I actually hired a private investigator to try to find one of the Sherpas. he was very reluctant to talk to me. So my last shoot in Nepal, my producer there was able to find this Sherpa, actually the two Sherpas that last saw Pasang alive, and convince them to get in this SUV and drive on this incredibly crazy mountain road to the place where we actually did the filming out up on the mountain outside of Kathmandu. And these two people told me about that last night with Pasang. That was a pretty emotional and amazing opportunity and experience.
What do you hope that audiences will take away from watching this film?
I hope they'll take away what Pasang herself, I think, embodied, which is, you know, the idea that believe in yourself and believe in your dreams, even if, you know, everybody tells you that it's not possible for you, that you know, making it happen. I mean, having courage to face obstacles is worth it. And I think that that's what Pasang would say. So pursue your dreams, go after them.
Yes, I believe in that too. Thank you, Nancy Ann Svendsen, Pasang. In the Shadow of Everest has its world premiere at the Santa Barbara International Film Festival on March 3rd. I'm Makena, reporting for Kids First. Please like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss my next review or interviews of those of my teammates. Bye.
Thank you, Makena.
Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure working with you today.
Such a pleasure. Thank you.
Of course. Have a